レスリングスープは大人向けの番組よ。みだらな言葉が出てくるわ。
Welcome everyone. You are on the Wrestling Soup Network or perhaps the Wrestling Soup and Friendos feed. This is the brand new premiere episode of the Legends and Future Greats LFG review show. We do not have a title for the show yet. We're going to workshop it, but the co-host, well, first of all, I should say who I am. This is Jeff Lipman, Evil Dose Evil, whatever. You know my voice by now. If you don't, sorry. But our co-host, the legendary LuFisto, who we're going to go back and forth with Jen because she is Jen sometimes, or Genevieve sometimes not, because she's also a promoter. But we'll start with LuFisto so you know who she is. LuFisto, thank you so much for being the co-host on this show.
Hey, thank you so much. That's a pretty interesting show. That's one thing I always loved about wrestling, and more now that I'm not currently wrestling. I love to see what's going on with students and new people trying and how they learn. And so, yeah, that was because I didn't watch the first season. The price to get it in Canada is just ridiculous, so I just didn't watch it. I just watched clips and news of bits and pieces of there when there was a scandal, like Mickie James telling a girl not to wear sexy gear. So I heard about that. But I mean, besides that, like, I'm not familiar. Like, of course, the only thing I know is Undertaker won, which I'm not surprised at all. The first season. And, well, Mickie James not there anymore, and McCool took her place. So, yeah, that's where we're at so far. And from what I understand is that there's people that are they're coming back from the last season. People who didn't win, and they're there with new people as well. So probably you'll have more insight on those people since you've seen them before. But I'm looking at them with, I was going to say new eyes, but no, it's the same old eyes that I need new glasses with. But I mean, that might be a different set of perspective from you than you.
Yeah, no, and I think that's really one of the very interesting things about this show, our combination, and I hope the audience agrees. But as I did watch season 1, and I also watch Evolve, and some of the folks from season 1 have been on Evolve. And of course, I watch NXT, and some of the folks have been on NXT in a variety of different reasons. But you are the actual wrestler. You train people. You have a promotion. You see it through those eyes. So you're like the Joe Numbers of this, but, showing, I mean, to say I'm the Mish is doing him a disservice, but I think people get the idea. I
don't know if Joe would like to be me either. It's like, you don't want to be in my head, trust me.
Well, we're not trading brains, but you have the insider eyes. You have the insider industry eyes. You're looking at certain things. I maybe know the characters a little bit better and the people a little bit better from that. And we'll see where that conflicts and intersects. So a couple notes. Season 2, we have some people on LFG who I know from Evolve. One is Harlem Lewis, who I think, we're not spoiling anything, we're saying made a big impact this episode. A gentleman named Trill London, who was on Evolve a little bit. Harlem Lewis was in some pretty major stories for Evolve. Summer Sorrell, who only had one match on Evolve, but was around. And Hayes Jameson, who in the beginning seemed to have more of an Evolve role than she did. So a little bit interesting to see some of those choices, but I'm not in the PC. You haven't seen those folks other than absent what we saw on the show, so there's probably not much point in doing any compare and contrast. But the show basically started with reminding us who the winners from last season were. Tyra Mae Steele, who won an Olympic gold medal in female wrestling in the Olympics. She's like Kurt Angle. And Jasper Troy, who's already made an impact on NXT, and they showed us a couple of matches for those folks. What were your initial impressions of the promos and the matches for Miss Steele and Mr. Troy?
Well, I feel like it was very edited, so I can't really give you a fair idea on how the matches work, because I think they kind of showed just their best spots. Mm-hmm. However, when you look at them, I understand why they were picked as winners. Like Jasper Troy is a beast. You put this guy on the poster, he's intimidating, he's huge. And even when Obafemi, they had that confrontation, he fits that profile of top superstar and probably the champion in upcoming years, maybe months. Yeah, it depends how quick he learns. But for a big guy, I thought he was moving really quick. He's really impressive. I really love him. And as, the female winner, yeah, when you say a Kurt Angle kind of vibe, definitely the way she uses suplexes, the way she can transition from one move to another. I don't know if Nikita Lyon was an opponent where she could shine as much. Maybe I don't know if we would see her against a Sol Ruka, let's say. We would see something, I believe we would see something completely different. But definitely, yeah, looking at them, why they're winners. They look like winners, they move like winners. And yeah, there's definitely something to do. Like, actually, one of the first thing I thought when I saw Casper was like, oh, I'd book him.
Oh yeah, it's Jasper, but yeah, I mean,
Oh, Jasper, I'm sorry, I said Casper.
yeah.
Sorry.
He's definitely not a friendly ghost. I was Team Jasper almost from moment one. And it's interesting because during the course of season one, in the beginning, we're all like this. Like, I decided who I picked my favorites and who I wasn't going to like. And some of the people talked me out of that. And some of the people talked me into other things or feeling other ways about them. I was really Team Bailey because I think she's so unique. You haven't seen that much of her yet. But obviously, an Olympic gold medalist is going to, to pass that up is almost malpractice. And maybe it was. But it's interesting when you said that the matches were edited. That didn't even cross my mind. But I'm wondering, this is not directly in the show, but how much do you know about Nikita Lyons and sort of WWE, how they work, when they like somebody or don't like somebody?
I feel she has, when you look at her, she has a striking look by being different, the very curvy, kind of big but sexy woman. So definitely, I mentioned the poster a few minutes ago. It's like, it's a thing when you promote, you're like, if I put this person on the poster, would this person bring me people? Would people be attracted by this person? And I mean, not necessarily about sex or whatever, but does this person have a look, something that attracts me to say, it's like, oh, I want to buy a ticket. So if the answer is yes, probably like you're going to try to work on this person to make something out of her, out of him. But so far what I've seen from her, besides that curvy look, personally, I'm not a fan. I love seeing bigger wrestlers moving like Jacob Fatu, but for her, and she's already shown that she's very injury prone. And it's not small injuries. Like some wrestlers get hurt nonstop, but they keep going. They take a weekend off or two and they can come back. For her, we're talking like ligaments, like stuff that takes months and months. And I do hope it's over for her. But so soon in her career, she's wearing both braces.
Yeah.
That would be concerning for me if I want to work on something that is long term. But you never know. Some people are good at working around injuries. The beautiful thing about wrestling, and that's why you see so many athletes, football players, let's say, that get a major injury. They can't play football anymore, but they can be like WWE superstars, is because you can adapt your style to whatever injury you have, which is, I hope, she'll be able to do. And I mean, she's in a good place to do so. She has good trainers to tell her, every time you have a ligament problem, especially in the knees, because I know I don't have an ACL, you can't jump from up high and land on your feet because there's a, 99% chance, 95% chance you might fall on your ass because there's no stability on one side. And it hurts like hell because it's like, if you don't have meniscuses, which I don't either, it's like bones hitting each other. You don't have little cushions between the bones. So you gotta be smart about it, work around it. And yeah, like I said, it's going to happen. I'm going to see her against maybe Jordan Grace or Sol Ruka or maybe like Jada Parker. I feel I'm going to see so much more from her than with Nikita Lyons. It's limited. I feel it's limited what you can do.
Yeah. Well, here's me on Nikita Lyons. And this is more of a procedural thing almost than substance. I mean, they're related. One, I'm always worried about when I see someone on NXT go to Evolve and LFG, but she's also been on Speed, which is technically main roster, though it sort of lives on X and it's a little bit different. That said, I have the same concerns as you. There's definitely a market that finds her extremely attractive. I'm not that person, but it doesn't matter. Not everybody has to be attractive to me or whatever. There's definitely people who will tune in to watch her or someone like her. And there aren't a lot of someones like her. She can't really talk. Her character is a little bit weird. She's got some moves, but I mean, at the same time, I would think that they trust her to put her in with this gold shipper for this match. So I take that as a good sign. That said, it's one to watch, but really Tyra Mae Steele is the LFG subject here. And she basically won in a glorified squash, but a technical squash where, it didn't hurt Nikita's power character. It's just her own power was sort of jujitsu. The leverage was used against her as an Olympic wrestler would. It was a curl up and Tyra Mae the match might have been 90 seconds long. And again, you said it was edited. You're probably right. My eyes didn't catch it, which is perfectly fine. So good for Tyra. The next match was Jasper Troy against Dante Chen. I actually think this was a televised match. Dante got in a couple of hope spots. Dante is now on Evolve, which again, what I just said, I'm always a little bit worried when people have been on the main roster, NXT, and then in Evolve. Jasper Troy won pretty easily in a squash match. Mm-hmm. He still needs to work on his timing and making his shit look real. But he doesn't have to do a lot of work to do it because he's so big and so he's got that resting angry face, it's like.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of people you'll notice when they start, they are too quick. You got to slow down. You got to slow down to make everything matter. Mm-hmm. And when everything's so fast and you don't have time to appreciate what's going on, that's where you can't see the anger, the intensity on the face. Like, yeah, because you move from one spot to another instead of one taking time. So that's why I say I feel like it was very edited, especially the first match, because I didn't see those in-betweens much. It was something spot, not necessarily like how you take your time to pick up the person and place her, for the next spot. And that's usually where you see, how do they move, the footing, and how do they move around in the ring? Do they know, where they're at this moment in the ring? Because when you bump, it's like, I don't know, you probably heard it before, but a bump is like being like in a car crash. So you bump, everything moves, and you get up, and once you're used to it and your body's used to it, that's where you can go around the ring and you know exactly where you're at. But it takes a while, and you can't really teach that. It's the repetition that are going to make it it's going to come easier and easier. It takes time. So maybe that's what's going on with him. He needs more reps. He needs more bumps. And at his size, he might not bump as much as the other people, but, slow down. And, if you've watched Night of the Champion, the first match, Cody and Randy, how, they will reverse one hold and go to another, and the time it takes and the facials they're doing, you could see they're pros. They take time, and people are screaming, "This is awesome," because they can feel everything that the wrestlers are feeling. And when you start, it's go, 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 go. And I have to respect my time and blah, blah, blah. And so you forget about those things. And with time, you learn to let go of a few things and focus on that. One thing that Undertaker said during the show that I really loved, I don't remember if it was Dani that he was talking to, but he was like, I don't care about flipping flops and stuff. I'm here to tell stories. And really, that's what matters. So maybe that's why I resonate so much with The Undertaker. I feel I've felt this way. I've known that way before, way earlier in my career, but different times where they weren't teaching that much. They were beating us up. But, oh man, what I would give to have a teacher like Undertaker.
Well, that's always going to be the chicken and egg argument. The stories are at the moves, and that's fine. If you go on AEW Twitter if you want to argue.
Well, there's different wrestling if that's what you're into. There's tons of independent wrestling too you can watch.
That was a perfect segue into what I really think was the main story of episode 1, and probably is going to continue for a while, is actually about the judges. And there's a few stories there. Mm-hmm. The Undertaker playing mind games and being so sneaky about it, but being obvious about it. He's breaking the fourth wall, but he's not on set. And then there's the semi-controversy, which is a controversy for me, with Michelle McCool, the Undertaker's wife, replacing Mickie James as a coach. And Michelle McCool, I barely remember her as a wrestler. She has no impact on my life. Mickie James, I do remember. I always liked Mickie James. I find her a more vibrant personality. I find her a better talker. Michelle McCool spent some time on LFG last year. She's smart. She knows wrestling. She has a brain in her head, but she doesn't speak animated. I mean, she's clearly clever, and the Undertaker is not a dummy, and he's not going to marry a dummy.
No, and I mean, they've been together for a while, so they must have interesting discussions. And for sure, them two being wrestlers, I know because I live with another wrestler.
Yes.
We talk about it nonstop. You kind of have to have that same vision or understanding of the business, I would say. Arguments can happen or whatever. She's been living in a house with someone who knows a lot, but she probably learned even after she was done with wrestling just by listening to him.
Oh, yeah. I want to talk a little bit, like, I would have preferred Mickie James come back, but I mean, do you care either way? And I know I would say it's nepotism. Booker said so. I have a related, okay, so it recently was revealed that Michelle McCool's been fighting cancer for a long time and doing very well at it. And I'm wondering if it's not so much like a slight on Mickie James and complete nepotism, more that when you are hired to work on LFG, you become an employee of TPO and you get group health insurance, no pre-existing condition exclusion. That's how the law works in the U.S. And I don't care how rich anyone is. Nobody likes copays and having to, or pay for your own, individual insurance rate.
I live in Canada.
Right. Except for the one thing that you needed it for recently.
Oh, listen, for the 5 years I lived in the States, that's the main reason why I left. Like I went back, like I could not deal with that. Did not understand how the government doesn't take care of people when they're sick. So I was like, nope, I'm going back. I'm going back home. Not dealt with it for cancer cells on my cervix. $10,000 just for the test and the biopsy. Nope. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, I worry about things, but that's a very different show. Do you think there's anything to my little theory? Do you think it's just the Undertaker wanted her? Do you think maybe Mickie James thinks so? I mean, she's married to Nick Aldis. I mean, do you care who the judge is?
The thing, like everybody, I wondered, like, why or whatever. And yes, Undertaker's his opinion is very heavy, I would say, like in WWE. But I feel like when the show started and Michelle McCool explained that, when I'm going to talk to Coach Undertaker, which is my husband, like I felt like, okay, it's a TV reality. And it's interesting to have a couple's vision, and maybe there's going to be fights between each other. It adds another dimension to a reality TV.
Let's hope.
To have a couple in there. So I was like, you know what? That might be one of the main reasons as well.
I think that you're right about that. I don't know if she gets more animated, but going back to season 1, Booker felt like he was screwed and the Undertaker was always getting the benefit. He's not entirely, it's subjective. It's not objective. As a viewer, I don't think he was entirely wrong. And there was the show when Michelle McCool came on and helped his team. Mickie was still with her team, but there's this Booker Undertaker schism. I'm not sure how much is work and how much is real. It probably really doesn't matter. But because McCool is taking, they said because she's the new person, but also Mickey's team came in last. So Michelle McCool gets the first.
It would make sense. She starts first. Like every sports draft in the NHL, the team that is at the very bottom of the pit is the first one to choose.
Right. And she gets to pick one man and one woman. So it's teams of 4, each with 2 women, 2 men on their team. So she gets 2 first-round picks. By the way, Undertaker won last year because of points, but Jasper Troy was on Team Booker, so it's not like he's got anything to be embarrassed about either. Yeah. Undertaker lets us know that he thinks that Shiloh Hill is probably the odds-on favorite, and he was on his team. So he basically takes Shiloh Hill aside and says, Sam,
yeah, dog,
try very hard.
Then don't be good.
Just trust me. Don't worry about it. I won. First, a silly thing. I happen to know that Shiloh Hill in the off season in real world got that missing tooth replaced. He now has a full. Do you think that was a mistake? Because that's his thing, that he doesn't have a tooth.
I didn't know. I was like, okay, there's a tooth missing. But then again, like Timothy Thatcher lost a tooth, and I ask him, why don't you get it replaced? It's like, it gives me an interesting look when I wrestle. I'm like, makes sense. I'm like, so I was like, okay, maybe that's the same reason.
Yeah, I think that maybe it's a mistake that he got the tooth replaced. We're not seeing it yet now. It must be after season 2 aired. Season 2 came really only about 8 weeks after season 1 ended. Booker still loves his monster, Jasper Troy. We talked about that. They showed a scene where Obafemi addressed him from the spotlighted balcony. They've already had a title match. It was really good. Obafemi retained, but Jasper Troy is still in that picture. And he does seem like an heir apparent when they're ready to elevate Obafemi. That Jasper Troy might walk right into that, or, be sort of like Jordan Grace, a perennial contender in NXT, holding things down. A lot of returning faces to this. So the 4 people I mentioned for Evolve, they're the only new ones. Everyone else was on season 1. It makes sense in a real world competition. It doesn't make sense for reality TV. You're usually getting all new characters. I haven't decided if I like it or not yet. But this is...
I don't know. The only thing I can tell you when it comes to wrestling, you can't make a wrestler in 8 weeks. It takes months. It takes years. Some people will stand out, but sometimes there's going to be a lot of people where they're good, but they're definitely not TV ready. Because that's the main problem there. These people are like on TV right away. But to become a good wrestler, like I said, it takes time. You always learn. There's always new moves. There's always new ways of approaching things and trainings. I did not get trained the same way people are trained today. People were not necessarily explaining us what was the etiquette or how to build a story. You kind of had to figure it out. And now you go to wrestling classes, they teach that. So people who are learning today are learning so much faster than people in my generation and even the one after. So, it makes sense that they would so they see okay, these people, they're definitely athletes. They got something going. They don't want to let them go because there might be diamonds in the rough right in that group. And I don't think, like I said, in 8 weeks, it makes sense. But I mean, for the next season, I'm guessing they would have to at least, if they had it for this time. What's the total of people there? I didn't even count the total people that were in the ring, maybe 20?
I think there's 8 and I think there's 16 of them. There might be 18 because there might be 2 early exits and then there's the teams, but it looks like they're already picking the team. So I'm guessing that there's 16. I could be wrong about that. A couple things with the returning faces, because of that, they know each other and there's a lot of camaraderie. And we also see scenes with, by the way, there's people from NXT there. There's people, obviously the people from Evolve, NXT, they're all in the same PC. Some people from the main roster. So all these folks know each other and mix and mingle. They're not really trying to hide it. But we catch up with a couple of people. And then by catch up, it's for me, not for you. This is the first time. But BJ Ray, we see. BJ Ray.
I know him from the other TV reality, though.
Okay.
Oh, my God.
Talk about it.
Can we punch the guy, please? And first of all, BJ, no. Don't use that name. I don't care if you're sexy, BJ. It's a sexy blowjob. That's all it is. That's I don't know. He didn't change that name since that other TV reality I watched on Roku because we had that.
Right.
And I was surprised he was still there because he had a very bad attitude.
Right.
And even Shawn Michaels told him dude, you're an asshole. He literally told him he was an asshole. So I was surprised to see him there. It's maybe he learned because he's a good athlete. He was first of his team or whatever. And, he has a great background, but
he's got on the Chip on the show, but it was Colby Carter, who was also on.
Yeah, the other guy who's from the same, he was playing the same football team, I think.
And he's Duke Wrestling. He's already on, on Deep State or Dark State, whatever it is in NXT. Mm-hmm. So, but he is, they love the Grayson Waller, Miz, MJF, punchable phase, asshole, cocky narcissist. Sometimes to a fault, they can't all work, but
he's not good either. So.
Yeah, we didn't see much of him today. No. We learned that Drake Moreau, who, by the way, is Roxanne Perez's boyfriend, he's back. He claims he killed an alligator and his new wrestling boots are from the alligator's cage. He seems like he's actually probably like a really interesting and fun and great guy in real life, but on camera, he's like nothing. I'm a little bit surprised he's back. And I know this is sort of your first look at him, but he doesn't do much for me. Even for, like, he's a big guy, but he's not that. He's like 6'5", 6'6", but, you know, he played offensive line, but he doesn't present like Moose or, you know, or the Undertaker or whatever. I mean, to call him Kendall Windham is unfair, but like, you know, he's more Shanky, you know, or Songba.
Sometimes you see something, you can't pinpoint exactly what it is, but you see something and, you know, not someone. Maybe that's what happened. One of the coaches is like, this guy has something. I haven't figured out what it is yet, but it's there. Sometimes it will develop into something. Sometimes it will not. Maybe it's that. I feel a lot of people also are staying in positions like this because they're really nice people, or they know how to be nice to whoever they need to be nice to. Because let's face it, it's entertainment. There's a lot of hypocrite people out there. It's terrible. They're nice to you until being, you know, an asshole to you will get them further. So it depends. But yeah, I don't know enough about this guy, besides the alligator boots, to know. I didn't even know he was Roxanne's boyfriend. So
fair enough. I'm sure we'll see more of him. We're recording this, by the way, on Sunday. So episode 2 is airing tonight. I'm sure we'll record our second episode, probably more proximate to the airing, but you listening won't care because you're going to subscribe and listen to every episode, whether you like it or not. So next we meet Summer Sorrell, who is a blonde, athletic, young woman. She actually had one match on Evolve. I tell you both, me and my co-host, White Chocolate, we thought that she really wasn't fast enough to be on TV at even Evolve. Now, we have no idea when that was recorded. That was probably recorded 2-3 months ago. I mean, we know it was because there were people who had been released who still appeared on air afterwards, like Gallus a couple times, Javier Bernal, things like that. But she says, meet Summer Sorrell. I'm not just another pretty blonde. I'm one of one. And then we meet Trill London, who also was on Evolve a couple times, who they tell us is an NFL defensive back. He tells us he's comfortable in his own skin. That's about it. And I'm rushing through this because the next person we meet is Hayes Jameson, who is also on Evolve a couple times, sort of with Vanity Project adjacent, another blonde. She says she's a wild child. And all I thought is Summer Sorrell told me that she's one of one, and here's 2 of 2. I mean, they're basically essentially. Yeah,
I said, like, girl, you gotta look at it's, especially it's TNA. It's the promotion you're working with. You're using a nickname that's already taken. Same thing. I was like, well, there's a girl called Jody Threat. She's the wild child. I was like, okay. But, you know, blonde, one of one, like, you still have to show me, because I thought of all the blondes, Dani was the one that stood out for me. Very small, but very quick, athletic, good punches, good shots. Like, she's 120, I don't know, 120 pounds, but she throws that, you know, she swings that 120 pound.
I wouldn't be surprised if she wasn't 100 pounds.
Oh yeah. I'm probably generous by saying 120 with boots and gear. But, you know, what I liked about her is that she is a student of the game. She would say, I will sit down and I'll look at Rey Mysterio, how he works, because he's pretty much always worked, you know, with people bigger than him. And that's one thing you have to do. You got to look at people that are, you know, in similar build to you, that look like you somehow. You know, if you're petite, but you're athletic, because she's been a cheerleader for the Tennessee Titans, Rey Mysterio is a great wrestler to look at. So I really loved when she said that. I'm like, okay, she already understands that she needs to get an inspiration from people who look like her and who've been successful. She's looking at Mysterio. So for me, the blonde that stands out is her. And even her match with P Nasty, bigger, like I said, bigger woman, I love P Nasty, very impressive, good mic work. Her mic work doesn't sound fake. It's like her talking, but she doesn't hesitate at all. She just goes bam, bam, bam. And her gear, I thought, was interesting. The one leg, like, I've seen this before, but Heard's very, you know, inspired by her culture, and she doesn't wear a knee pad, but I'm telling you, she will be wearing a knee pad in a couple of either shows or months or whatever. Wear knee pads. Trust me. I started not wearing knee pads because I thought my legs looked better without them. But yeah, live and learn. Live and learn.
Ask Rusev about that. Yeah. I totally agree with you. And Dani, by the way, who's one of the people last year that I didn't want to like because she's so small, but her footwork, her athleticism is so good that she looked like a veteran almost from day one in season 1 of LFG. Now, listen, some of these people have been in the PC for a year. Some of them have been there for 2 years. Some of them, I mean, like last year, Elijah Holyfield, Evander Holyfield's son, was there for a week or something like that. But I did want to, I mean, everything you mentioned about Dani, I agree. But again, another blonde, we got 3 of 3, but Dani is the 101. I totally agree with you. She knows exactly who she is, how she has to work, her facials. She wants to work with Undertaker. Smart.
She's very aggressive, which I really like. It doesn't matter. That's one thing that I always feel with women's wrestling. Their hits, their punches, it lacks intensity. Especially if you're that small, you need to be 10 times more aggressive.
Right.
Because otherwise it looks, you know, of course, wrestling is stage, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, you should still feel that it's true. Like, it should feel like you shouldn't be thinking like, oh, that looked fake or whatever, that looked bad. You should really get into it. I always like, just an example, I'm looking forward to Sheamus and Rusev because I know they're going to beat the shit out of each other. So, you know, we should expect the same thing from the girls. And she gave me that. I really liked her shots. And she was fighting a bigger woman too. So you need to bring that extra intensity, being very aggressive. As a fan, as someone who's watching, that we will start to believe that even at your size, you can beat her because you're putting everything you have into each and every hit.
I already believe that Dani has a future in this business. By the way, some of the other contestants from last season have already, I mean, Troy Yearwood is now Jamar Hampton. I don't think the name, but he's on Evolve. Lee Laurel, she's also on Evolve as Jin Tala. So it's not like you've got to win to get signed or at least get a chance. I do want to say a couple things, and this is a segment called Who's a Cheap Slut? Jeff's a Cheap Slut, because I can be bought very cheaply. So Tyra Mae Steele, follow me back on X. I'm now going to be a fan of hers forever. Dani has not followed me back on Twitter, but she is interactive and she likes things. And if you do something that's clever, she'll like it. And if you say something, she'll say something back. I mean, she's not going to spend the day talking to you or whatever, but it's like she's a human, you know, and I don't know if it's from, you know, being the most popular girl in the sorority, but still a nice girl. I don't know if it's from Tennessee Titan, you know, PR training, whatever it is. She's got that, and I will be a fan of hers, despite the fact that she's 94 pounds, because she just seems to be good, and she's good at it too. She's not even like, you know, I mean, listen, I'm 56, so I don't really look at women's wrestlers, you know, for prurient interest solely any longer. I'm sort of aged out of that, but I'm not dead either. But she's not my type, you know, but I really like her. I'm really pulling for her. So, all right. So then we get them back to the drills, which is really all we saw from most of the wrestlers. And there's some comments about how they're too relaxed. And this is not limited to Shiloh, who's sandbagging it. And Bubba's looking at, like, what are they doing? Booker's looking at it. And I'm trying to figure out, like, who are they trying to, like, all play Booker? But no, I think Undertaker's the only one playing games here. I'm not even.
Oh my God. Especially at the end of the show, it's like, I would accept that. Like, oh God, I wouldn't want to deal with that.
I'm not messing with Booker. So Booker really wants, we get reminded that Booker wants Anthony, you know, Luke to show out. Anthony Luke, despite being told not to, keeps playing into his Rock comparisons. Booker makes it known he wants to have Anthony Luke on his team. He almost won last year. He's a winner. He also wants P Nasty. Spoiler, both of them get picked by Michelle McCool as the first and second picks. Bubba wants them to be serious in drills. Booker agrees. Everyone notices Shiloh sleepwalking, and Undertaker, of course, is like looking at the camera, smiling, you know, like he's from The Office, you know, he's like, but then he's going to us, yeah, I don't know, why is he sleepwalking? And like Shiloh's in on it because they see imagery. He goes, sometimes you just wake up sleepy, you know, I don't know what happened that day. But Elijah Holyfield and Harlem Lewis came out strong. So so I don't know what I'm looking at. It looked harsh. It looked fast. It looked solid. It looked intense to me. Did it look good or did it look sloppy to you?
Footing, like the way they will do their drills, like they're gonna flip and roll, and just look at their feet when they stand up. They're not wobbly. Like Holyfield, he's a rock. But others, like you'll see, like whoops. And I don't really like the fighting stance when they get up. I feel it's kind of, I don't know. It makes it look, I don't know. If you're in the fight, I always go back to, if you're in the fight, are you going to stand up like this? No. I know you're like into pretending to fight, but if you end up rolling for some reason, I don't feel you're going to stand up like this. I'm not a fan, but I've looked at the rolls and stuff, and I haven't seen anything that was really bothering me. Cause I feel like they were cutting from one camera to another real quick, and then they would get to the coaches and then to the people. So yeah, I can say like it seems that Holyfield is solid on his legs, and he's confident, that's for sure. But could I say exactly how good or not he is? Like, I don't think I've seen enough when it comes to drills. Because it was just that, back and forth between Undertaker trying to get that guy, telling him to, take it slow or look sleepy or whatever, and Booker T being pissed. And I felt he was, like, obnoxious. Like, I haven't seen the first season, and maybe that's why, but, it's against me, it's against this, and I'm like, and he screams at them, practice how you play, which, when you start, definitely right. With time, though, if you've been wrestling for years, careful, because your body's already beat up. Practice seriously, but don't bump at 100 miles an hour depending on where you're at. I mean, right now, if you're trying to get, picked in a team, definitely. But I mean, there's levels, and there's, time in your career where you need to be smart about this kind of advice, I would say. Do you need to practice always? I would say yes. You need to do tons of rolls every week when you're wrestling every weekend. Probably not, but it's always great to go back to the basics, how to take a bump, how to take a arm drag. Because for some reason with time, people will take great arm drags when they're at school, and then they end up in a match that looks like shit. There's something with the arm drags where they change their end position and they don't go over, they go on the side. That actually brings me to the freaking hip toss that almost killed the other girl.
Obviously, we saw Tatiana, and this is her second season, and she botched a hip toss on Hayes Jamison. I'm not sure if it was once or twice, because from the different camera angles, it looked like it might have been twice.
It was two different times.
I thought so. And I have to be honest, season one, I started out liking Tatiana. She has an interesting look. I want to say she's African-American trained, but she's not. She's Australian. She's African-Australian. And she had a simplicity, like she only had one line of black paint through one eye. And just the confidence of the minimalism of that and the effectiveness, it impressed me more. And she's got an athletic build and all that. But as the season went on, it seemed like she was a little petty. She was griping with Tyra Mae. The woman's an Olympic gold medalist. You don't get to gripe at her. Whatever she did, she's actually the best in the world. I mean, you can pick on me or Drake Moreau or Gintala or whatever, but you don't get to pick on the work ethics and whatever the practice habits are of the actual best in the world verified. So I'm a little surprised that she made it to season 2. Hayes Jamison, I don't know. They didn't give her much an evolve, just to be an ancillary character, vanity project, sort of and I guess they decided one Zeta Steel was enough, which, I mean, Zeta Steel can be cloned, just from movie to a Star Wars, as far as I'm concerned. Mm-hmm. We could have armies of Zeta Steels running around, and that'd be just fine to show you that even at 56, I'm not dead. She interacted with me once on social media, basically because, somebody was giving me a little bit of a hard time, and she sent me a DM. She slid into my DMs and says, I'm just messing with you. And, and
It's really nice though.
yeah, she did not have to do that. She did not have to do that at all. And it was cool. And listen, then, and then I pointed out the show and that we'd love to have her guests. And she said, we're not allowed to do any, but when I can do interviews, I'll definitely reach out. Will she? Probably not. But she didn't have to say that. And she did. Sweet girl. So I'm going to be a fan of hers as long as I possibly can. All right. So Tatiana botches 2 hip tosses on Hayes Jamison. We hear Hayes say, listen, I'm not mad. She didn't do it on purpose, but I have a feeling we're going to come back to that. Later in the season, what were your thoughts on that? Especially knowing this is season 2 of Tatiana, not season 1.
Here's the thing with the hip toss. For some reason, and it still happens when I give classes to people who've been wrestling for months and even years, everybody forgets how to do a frigging hip toss. They all go on the side when they should have their legs like planted looking forward, but their top body pivoted to the back. They should have their hips out. It's a hip toss. Forget about the hip. People push on the knee for some reason. And here's the main thing she was doing. Instead of keeping her back straight and going up with the person, she would bend down. So when you bend down, what happens? You drive the person's head right into the mat. And she kept doing that. But I'm thinking like, she's at the performance center. They probably practice nonstop. It's the performance center. They probably have a way to do things and they have specific moves, and hip toss is a basic move you need to know. It's one of the first moves I learned when I started in 1997. And I don't think I'm thinking like most schools of that time were thinking like hip toss and body slams were like the 2 biggest moves you would start with after you knew how to bump and you knew a little bit of the, headlock takedowns and hammer locks and arm wringers and all that stuff. So
the Ole Anderson moveset.
So yeah, to me, it was like, I don't know if that's where I started to go like questioning myself. How scripted is this? But I mean, they wouldn't plan on, hurting someone on purpose, but I was like, why would they bring someone who's not getting the fundamentals? 1, 2, is it something they want to show show people wrestling is hard and it's dangerous. It is. One bad move, you're not placed in the right way. You bend down when you're not supposed to, or the famous AJ Styles clash. You need to put your chin up instead of down, which you're normally doing on everything else in wrestling. And everybody tells you to tuck your chin. This one, it has to be out. And then that's how people get injured. Yeah, I was like, I don't know. But again, I have to see more of her. But I thought that was, especially for someone returning.
She was a little chippy. She had a little chip on her shoulder. I'm not sure that was a good thing.
Oh, that I don't know. But just the repeating the move and not, I don't know what the coaches told her. Did someone tell her, it's like, hey, keep your back straight and then keep going? Because I've been to a few schools where it's one person after another and they don't have it right and they keep going to the next one. It's like, you got to explain what's wrong so they fix it. But a lot of schools are not. You got to take the time and say, do it again, do it again, do it again. And then even if the other people are waiting, we're talking about security. We're talking about someone else's health and well-being. You got to explain what's going on, what's wrong, why, and how to fix it. But we haven't seen that from the coaches. When that happens, there's like information missing here.
I know that a lot of people try to figure out where LFG is in the universe, and they sort of put it between Evolve and NXT, but I don't think it necessarily is. I think but the one thing about LFG that I'm not sure if I'm right, I think that they're all NIL talents. I don't think any of them have any indie experience. And I could be 100% wrong about that, but I think all of them started in the PC. Some of them have been there longer than others. Hopefully we'll get feedback from people to see if that's right. Hopefully we'll have thousands upon thousands of listeners. So we get reunited with Xena a little bit, not so much, but Xena in season 1 sort of broke out as everyone's surprised because we weren't sure, is she a pretty girl? Is she a strong girl? Because she's both. I mean, is she ditzy? And she really had it all. I mean, I don't think anyone would have been surprised if she won the whole thing. I think that there were 3 women that really stood out as far as being fairly complete. Tyra, Olympic gold medalist, it's all there. She pretty much came. Xena and Bailey Humphries, who is a genetic physical freak of size and musculature and knows how to wrestle with power, and I think everyone else sort of fell into varying degrees. I mean, Dani, I think, would be in the conversation, and they're all fine. But she was Bubba's favorite. She was Team Bubba. She won all the points for Team Bubba. And they're already taking their show on the road. They do podcasts, they do shows, and we didn't see much of her on this episode. I'm wondering.
We saw her backstage, I think, for like few seconds, and that was it.
And I like her a lot. I really do. She was great last year. What everyone else felt, I felt. And when Mickie James was telling her that she was dressed too sexily, first of all, she wasn't dressed very particularly sexily at all. And like the next week, Mickie James is wearing a complete booby shirt. So I don't know what we're talking about here. But anyway.
I feel Mickey's words have not. I think Mickie was more talking about the fact that, women were more of a sexy attraction. And it took a long time for them to be seen as wrestlers and to have different shape and sizes and ages. And it was important to remember that and not to focus mainly on that, because you don't want it to go back to what it was. Women's wrestling is really strong right now because women learn how to say no and not to do those freaking gravy matches and whatever. Like, that would be another subject that would take forever on the evolution, the real evolution, not WWE evolution. I mean, the one that started from the indies to whatever it is today, knockouts, WWE, all stuff. But I mean, gear is so much more than just like, if anything, the girl who was wearing kind of lingerie, I would have told her, you know what, Tiffany Stratton's doing that. Don't. Simply, I would probably approach it this way. Like, if you want to be unique, don't play the sexy card because everybody's doing it and I'm bored. I want to be entertained and I want something new. So, but,
I mean, first of all, we don't know when she actually said it chronologically. Maybe it was early on before Xena found her character. I kind of felt like they told Mickie to say something controversial because it really felt disjointed in the context of it. I mean, but first of all, let me say this.
Editing will do what?
Everything that you said, I agree with it 100%. Listen, 5 years ago, I'm on the record saying, I don't give a shit about women's wrestling. I prefer the women's wrestling now. I think there's so many, like NXT is an embodiment of riches and I mean, TNA, they have the indies they have. I mean, one of the many tragedies is that their women's roster is terrific. They just focus on
they got great people out there, but no structure, which would be
there's more great women's wrestlers are than men.
Yeah, I mean, yes, but nobody listens or they don't talk to each other.
Right. Also,
it is what it is. But yeah, there's a lot of great talents there that's not being showcased, fortunately.
My question to you, and I don't know if you share this concern because it's hard to tell, but are you at all concerned that with Bubba sort of capitalizing with Xena now before she's actually done anything, do you think that may impact the commitment to the craft and the trade? Like it's too much too soon?
Too much too soon is never good. That's for sure. Too much too soon is really tough on someone too. They think they're, we always talk about having a big head and being like, oh, I know everything because, I don't know, Bubba told me. But the thing is, it comes with a pressure. And one of my students, she was really, really good. People were pushing her. And I was like, slow down, you're too much. And one day she cried and I can't do this anymore. And she quit. So you got the two extremes that could happen with someone too much too soon. Either they become the biggest freaking asshole. They think the world is owed to them and they think they know everything. They know better, but they're not actually that good. And the opposite, which can happen, is that they're really good. They learn fast, whatever, but the pressure gets so hard to deal with that they quit. So in both cases, you are costing the wrestling world of maybe something great. It takes time. You need time. It needs to build and you need to learn how to deal with, especially nowadays with social media and everything. And there's so much competition right now. Back in the day, like women, like it was one per territory, maybe. But now, oh my God, there's so many wrestlers out there. So many wrestlers. So how do you stand out? It's pressure. So I guess we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, he might totally be I was going to say in love, but I mean, wrestling wise.
Right.
In her, but is he going to be able to pick her? Probably, because I think he's next. But, we'll see. I didn't look much at the people who are not featured. I can't really comment. I was more interested in the 2 matches that happened and people who were featured. I think they're going to go this way where they featured these people this episode. Next episode is going to be, maybe 4 other people, like different matches, and then I'll be able to know more.
For us to pay attention to and to see how they develop and if this is influenced. The other thing we don't know is we don't know the real-time chronology. Everything that Booker is doing with Xena could very well, not Booker, Bubba, could very well have started after season 2 actually ended in real time. It just hasn't made air yet. So the judges decide who the matches are going to be. It's going to be P Nasty, Panina versus Dani, and it's going to be Harlem Lewis versus Chris Island. Haven't seen a lot of Chris Island this show. The women's match was definitely P Nasty, Panina, Taliapa. I'm sure I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. Some people are claiming she's related to Anna Oz. I have seen no verification of that. I don't know if they're just assuming it because she's, looks like she's South Pacific. No idea. Maybe she is, maybe she isn't. But it was a power versus athleticism match. The promos that cover a little bit generic. I like P Nasty too. She sounds authentic. I've never heard the phrase except from her, if you got a problem, come get your issue, but it sounds really badass coming from her. The one thing I would say about her is she does something with her hands afterwards where she sort of weighs up and she seems to think this is cool, and maybe it has symbology. I don't understand, but to me, it just looks lazy.
Or it's like, we already pretty much talked a lot about this match, but one thing I really liked is the first shot she gave, Dani went down. One shot, boom, down. And the only thing, there's 2 things in that match I was like, yeah, that need work, that needs, work. They tried those, I call them the Alundra Blaze feel, where by the hair, you're supposed to flip on the side and kind of turn. I didn't think they looked really good. Since Dani's studying, definitely wrestling, I would say go watch Bullacano versus Alundra Blaze and watch those hair beals. They're sick. I would go for that and jump higher instead of, jumping towards the mat. That's going to be so it looks devastating. And I didn't like the finish. It was a boring someone drop. It had no pizzazz, nothing. I would even I was thinking even if she grabs her opponent and spin, and then drops, it would add so much more to just, because you got Jacob Fatu throwing the person up and then lands. It's so much more impressive. I'm you have to either change it completely or add a little something because it's blah.
Yeah, I'm giving a pass not because they're new and they're young and who knows what they know how to do and they can build upon it. Hell's Gate into the Samoan drop for Panina win. Dani made we see her talking that she's proud of her work and she knows the wins and losses are and everything, which shows she understands the business. The next thing we see is the men's match, which is Chris Island. And we see a little backstage where he's sort of pretending that he's a trusted vet. I put in the word pretending because, Chris is one of those guys. Season 1, I started out not liking. And as the season went on, I wanted to like him. He's actually good at wrestling. He doesn't seem to be emotionally or personality-wise on the same page as anyone else in the room at any time.
Well, if you want to know what I want,
yes,
what I wrote about this match,
I do.
First of all, the face-to-face backstage, I was if this is not scripted, I'm if you want people to believe this is real, don't do this shit. Nobody does that backstage. I'm sorry. It doesn't happen unless there's major heat. And even then, promoter would step in and say, calm down or not book this match at all. So I was I'll get me the violins, blah, blah, blah. I was no, please. I just wanted to skip that part. I didn't like this. It looked way too scripted. I was no. What I really liked about Lewis is it's going to sound stupid, but the hairy chest and the way he's built, I was had a mustache and this guy could be a Dan Severn. That's what I thought when I saw him. The way he's built, I was that would be great. Cause right now I feel he looks a little generic with the long hair, whatever. Cut his hair, had a mustache. It's something different. And here's the thing with wrestling. Once there is a hit, somebody gives you a forearm, a punch, do not go back to chain wrestling. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So there's a shot, boom, goes back to a headlock. I'm like, why? You already hit the guy.
Yeah.
What the hell? Just beat on him now. Do something, but headlock is like, and then I was like, well, that was for me. No, I was like, oh, quads. Huh? Look at those quads. Like Randy Orton would be proud.
Yeah.
I liked the physiques of those guys. They look like beasts. They look like definitely like they could.
Those legs are extremely.
Oh my gosh, he kicked the shit out of each other. Like one kick from this guy, like it could be a good looking kick, could be a finish mid-place like this, or like a chokehold with the legs. Oh my god, money. And they worked way too fast. Oh my god. It was so fast. You didn't have time. The match didn't breathe. You didn't have time to appreciate what the hell they were doing. They were doing pins close to the ropes. If your opponent's close to the ropes, you want to bring them to the middle. And even when you learn how to sell, if you take a bump close to the ropes and it's a big move, roll into the middle so you could, first of all, you're going to be less blown up because you're kind of cutting off on some moves where the guy has to go pick you up, pull you. And it takes unnecessary time in the match. So take the bomb, roll away from the ropes. Opponent just needs to pin, 1-2 kick out, and you're not close to the rope. Doesn't look stupid. The ref's not in the way. Because what's more boring than 1-2? Oh, he's in the ropes, and it's not a planned spot where the person grabs the rope to save themselves. So I was like, yeah. And the selling. Oh my, I wrote down same face. Nothing hurts that bad. It was like, I felt like it was, sorry, here's what I wrote for the end. Goldberg finish, Goldberg selling. Yeah.
Okay, it's fair enough. He does the jackhammer. He calls it the boom slang. I feel like Chris pretends that he's confident, but he really isn't.
It doesn't. It looks like fake.
And I'd like to help him.
Same face, no emotion, no you got the body, you got the height, you got the athleticism, but do I care about you? Nah, not much. When he talked about his mom, but then I got confused because he says, oh, my mom this, when she said, I was blah, blah, blah. She was happy. And then I haven't talked to her. I was like, when it was film? I was like,
yeah,
I was confused by the timeline there.
Me too. So Chris, I'd like someone to work with him on his confidence or fool it or something. Harlem is intense all the time, very fast. They made a big deal about him being in the Italian football league of the Dolphins in the Italian and leading their tackles. Interesting. Comes in nasty. You know who didn't agree with you about how Harlem wrestled? Booker. He was falling in love. So, which also makes me wonder why he's so upset that the people I know he worked with them and all that, but he knew the rules of this game and he knew that you're not going to necessarily draft them if you tip your hand as to who you want. Mm-hmm. So anyway.
But don't get me wrong. I don't think, does the guy have potential? Yes. But before the moves and being fast, whatever, there needs to be a little bit of a, hey, slow down. Hey, lift your head, sell, register more. I felt like everything was rushed. Like, you don't need to put all the moves you do in one match. I think, pick and choose and put some meat in the bone and do, yeah. And both guys look great. Like I said, quads for days, everything like great. Like Island has a great smile. Like he could be, you could sell him as much as an all-American athlete as a cocky piece of shit. Like, I think he could do both, which is great because that's great when you can switch from heel to face. But yeah, I just felt the match was like, yeah, just the match. Like, I didn't, how I was saying I was believing that Dani could beat P Nasty because the way she was selling it and trying and oh my God, I'm going to have her. She made you believe. And these guys was like, okay, they're wrestling for themselves. Like, I always call it wrestling for the mat. You don't look at people. You just do what you have to do. You're one move to another and too fast.
You're right.
That's my opinion.
Of course
I've
you're
been known to not agree with Booker T on the period.
Me saying you're right is absurd because of course you're right. You've been in this business for close to 30 years inside it. But I mean, it's like a light bulb. They were wrestling for themselves. Now, Harlem Lewis, I'm going to give him a little bit of a pass because he's green as hell. And I think
there's something to do with him. There is.
And I think you can train somebody how to wrestle. I mean, Nikita Koloff, Road Warrior, both Road Warriors say hello. You can train somebody. I don't know that you can teach someone menace. Like, he has natural menace.
Here's the thing with him that I really love. He was explaining on how when he was young, watching wrestling and then the cakes with so he's a fan already. Put him in front of a TV and watch, I don't know, Ricky Morton, like old school kind of guys who knows how to sell. He loves wrestling. Already, somebody who watches wrestling will get it faster because they've been watching it and is just to now watch it differently. Now go back to your favorite matches. Why did you like them? Now watch them with the eyes of, being a wrestler. And because he's a fan, he can do that. So that's the good thing about him. Like, I just think he needs to study, the matches that made him feel special when he was a kid. And now that he's a wrestler, trying to figure out why.
Right. And they're making a big deal out of leaving us with the impression that he's antisocial because they made a big deal about him just leaving, packing up with stuff, not talking to anyone. He's no shirt on when he's leaving the place. I've often pointed out that the PC parking lot for Evolve and LFG is completely safe. In NXT, oh my God, no, it's Fallujah. But but on the PC
isn't where
side,
soccer's hang out? Like there was one not too long ago.
Always. The fact that they don't have full-time security out there all the time is probably a mistake. It struck me strange about the mom thing as well, and I don't want to beat on it, but maybe they had him tell the story to show that he's sort of broken and a loner. Maybe there'll be a reconciliation. They didn't say why. I don't know. I'm curious, but I almost feel like I don't want to know yet.
I just wondered because he said like when he called her, she was bawling, happy that he made it to LFG, and he haven't talked to her for months. And I'm like, so when was that? And when is now? Because I was like, is it that long since? Right. Did they cast second season before they started the first one or during and so the mom knew, but then by the time they finished season one and then then they stopped. I was like, right. It just looked weird the way he phrased it. Yeah.
It's also weird because, this is wrestling. The IWC knows everything. Half of what we know is wrong, but we know. So we know that he was dating Cora Jade after she was dating Braun Breaker, but we know that they broke up and he's dating Thea Hale now.
Oh, that would be LFG would be for gossip, but that's not what it's about.
LuFisto fucks with gossip. Right?
Yeah, so LuFisto fucks with gossip. It's like wrestling gossip. Like who's going out with who?
Well, it's
that could be the TMZ of wrestling, but.
These folks aren't like cook. They're begging. Maybe it's LuFisto fires Gazpacho, which doesn't make any sense, of course. But I don't know.
I think I had that.
Yeah, we'll figure it. Anyway, listen. Michelle McCool picks P Nasty first, then she picks Anthony Luke, who is, as far as I know, still Maxime Dupri's beau, and Booker absolutely loses his shit. Undertaker's standing there with a shit-eating grin, wearing his little title belt on him, stoking Booker's rights like, I wouldn't stand for this. I wouldn't take it. The fix is definitely in.
Pushes the buttons nonstop.
I'm like, don't they know the rules? And Booker flips out and walks out, and then they end with Alicia Taylor, the ring announcer, going, is he coming back? Cliffhanger.
Yeah, I was like, they're so big about people's ego and stay in line and whatever you say online, and they will look at the background of every single person that steps into that company. And here you have one of the coaches snapping on something that is a rule of the game. Like you said, Mickie James came in last. She's the new coach. Therefore, she picks first because that's how the drafts in every other freaking sport works. I know baseball and I know hockey work this way. I'm not familiar with NBA, but I'm pretty sure it's the same freaking way.
So there's a lottery.
Lottery, right? But anyway, I know NHL, the last team picks first when there's a draft. That's how it works.
And this
so it's just a new coach.
You ain't going to get all the people you work with last time.
Yeah, here's the thing. It's part of the rule. It's a draft. So you pick and choose. You don't have anything like, it's not because you trained them last season that it's guaranteed you're going to get them back. But what if the roles were reversed and you would grab like Undertaker's best student? It would be the same thing. So he's not getting screwed. It's the rules. If you don't like him, just leave, hire someone else who gets it. But I mean, probably this part was like really scripted because otherwise they made him look like a fucking...
Yeah, but if this part's scripted and his rant about the students lollygagging in the drills was real, at some point, isn't it like the boy who cries wolf or you know, am I just worried too much? There's too much respect for Booker.
Yeah, I don't know if they thought it through, but yeah, I was like, I'm not sure I like this. You know what would be great? Take the worst student there is there and make something out of him or her. That's impressive. That another coach could not do anything with this person, but you can. That impresses me. If you take the best one already.
Well, I have a feeling we're going to see that experiment. Whether it's successful or not, I'm not sure. But there's a couple of people here I'm not so confident.
And she can't do a hip toss. Come with me. I'll show you and we'll work it out. That would be impressive.
Yeah. So, folks, this was the premiere of the pilot. I don't know if every show is going to be exactly like this, but the episode of LFG was probably more background than actually action. So we'll see.
She'll be faster next time once we go through everything. And I need to read about season 1 myself.
Well, I don't know. It's Wrestling Soup. We might just start talking about core metal or something for 45 minutes or mumble rap.
Or classic heavy metal's more. Yeah.
I don't even know what those two things I just said are. I don't know what music that is. So we do on Gospel of Thomas's. There's a segment that repeats. It says, let's teach Jeff something about pop culture because I don't know shit. Anyway, LuFisto, Genevieve, where can people find and follow if you want to be found and followed?
You can follow me on X at LuFisto, and on Facebook is facebook.com/LuFisto. And on Instagram, I'm LuFisto Pro Wrestling and Arts because I do all kinds of stuff with wrestling. I'm a promoter. I'm a graphic designer. I'm an agent. I'm a teacher, and I'm also a photographer. All kinds of stuff. I design gear also and all kinds of good stuff related to wrestling. So that's why it's Pro Wrestling Arts. And that's it.
That's a lot. Listen, I am tickled pink. I tickle pink that you said yes to this. I am honored to do it. You know, we know each other a little. Over the last year or so, we've gotten to know each other a little. And then, you know, as far as when cyber is concerned, I consider you a cyber friend. So that counts in 2025 as a friend. But to actually be co-hosting a show with you on a regular basis until Mish fires me. No, please don't fire me, Mish.
And actually, if anybody has suggestions or questions about the show that you want me to go back and watch it and comment on it, just let me know, because sometimes, like, I have the worst case of ADHD even if I take medicine. I might miss a few things. And like I said, I'm also a promoter, so I'm thinking 24/7. I don't know why I started to promote shows, but anyway, follow Women's Wrestling Syndicate too, WWS Syndicate on X and Women's Wrestling Syndicate everywhere. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Great matches. I already edited 3 matches of the show that happened last Sunday. I'm on fire. So yeah, I do editing too. So yeah, I'm
there you go.
An idiot.
It's like Da Vinci Fisto here. Okay, very good.
Sick Fisto.
Yeah. Too busy, LuFisto. She needs more fistos. So, all right. If you want to follow me, you can find me on the X at dose_evil for mostly wrestling nonsense. If you want a little bit more variety, it's at Icarus FLND, but I'm mostly on Dose Evil. Garden of Thought gets you basically 2 to 3 shows a week. One is, well, let's just say the 2 of them are sort of like Joe Rogan without the broness and the complete embrace of conspiracies. And the other is the Gospel of Thomas, where me and Mr. Thomas, the new top guy in MLW wrestling, we talk to people in wrestling, generally about non-wrestling stuff, but also about wrestling stuff and whatever we feel like. And it's a lot of fun and a lot of insight. You know, one things we learned, and, you know, and you're learning, hearing here from LuFisto, wrestlers are people too. So, you know, and they can talk about things other than wrestling, but we're lucky. Then subscribe to Garden of Thought. As far as all my other all my other projects are sort of affiliated, mentioned with wrestling. So whether I'm guesting on PWT with Phil or Alt Jake, who's a spinoff of Phil's show, or the Drew Yari Experience doing NXT PLE reviews or Worlds Collide. That's part of Soup. And of course, the Body Slam Briefs, the intersection of law and wrestling on the Wrestling Soup Network, and the Evolve show on the Wrestling Soup and Friendos feed, which may be where this ends up. I don't know. So yeah, check it out. I was just on the Hey Now Rich Now show, the X's and O's shows, which was a lot of fun. We never met before. No idea what we were going to talk about, but talk we did. Anyway, thanks very much. Subscribe to Wrestling Soup. Be a Patreon of Wrestling Soup. Go to WrestlingSoup.com. Join their YouTube. They're on a push to 10,000 subscribers. How Wrestling Soup doesn't have 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, I have no idea.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, they're among the OGs. I don't want to say who's the OG and who's not the OG, but they've been doing this, 14 years now?
Yeah.
Wrestling content, honest, their own stuff, being unapologetically themselves. So yeah. Put those brothers up. Not me. I don't get anything out of it. I'm not a attention whore. You put me on the air, I don't need anything. I just want to pretend someone is listening to me. So support those guys. Thank you, Mish, for greenlighting this and hosting it and editing like you needed one more thing to do. LuFisto, again, such a pleasure. And we'll figure out a regular scheduling day too.
Great pleasure. And we hope to see you guys. I hope you join us for one more show of LSG something something. And by the way, if you have a great idea for a title for this show, reach out.
Hey, and listen, if you have in your professional circles, people who watch us on the inside, and I'm guest friendly. So that's all cool. All right, everyone, we've probably talked for about an hour and a half about a 1 hour TV show. So stay evil, my friends.
Follow Wrestling Soup on Twitter at Wrestling Soup. Like and subscribe to Wrestling Soup on YouTube, Apple, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Spotify.